Hey guys, welcome to the show. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We got some weather in the area and YouTube studio didn't want to cooperate, but we pulled through it. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Welcome to BALLBUSTERS episode 81, man. 81. That's right. Nature of science, natural science, and the scientific method. I'm going to go through it all again. Let's see who we got out there. Nathan, sir.
Hello, how's it going?
Good.
Who made your thumbnail? That's not science, that's technology.
I don't know who made that. Oh, Betty. I like it. It doesn't have to be technology right there.
What's the natural phenomena being observed in those test tubes?
In the test tubes, who says that the natural phenomena is in the test tubes?
I assume that's a scientific apparatus. Hinting at it.
Nah, it's just an apparatus.
Be the experimental setup.
Oh, chocolate, man. We haven't had you in how long, man?
Yo.
Yo.
What's going on?
What's going on? We got problems with the thumbnail.
Apparently.
Yeah. See, it could be any. Welcome back, chocolate. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's just
back, brother.
Yeah. That's just about. Sorry, we'll get back with you, chocolate. This is just the apparatus, man. We don't know what the phenomena. Let's ask Betty what the phenomena is. Betty. Oh, that's right. She's not here. There you go.
She sent me a message. She said it's ether.
Yeah. Oh, that is so funny too, because when I started up, I was looking or looking at the intro, and I was watching Arwen's little piece, and I forgot that it had a ripple in the ether. So ether just popping up everywhere.
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't.
I did find that kind of funny myself too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
like I
that's
said, Go ahead,
Sorry.
Nathan. Sorry.
I was saying that's a Meekins handiwork in the intro with ripple in the ether for Arwen.
Yeah.
This characterization by Adam.
Where's Adam been, by the way? Is he in here?
Probably having his tea.
Fair enough.
Making
Still
dinner,
the baddest intro in FE as far as I'm concerned.
Me too.
Absolutely.
I like how short it is. Yeah, it's good to have all you guys in here. Like I said, if we suddenly go dark, I've got many thunderstorms in the area with pretty large hail. So if I all of a sudden go dark, you guys know what happened. I don't know what's going on here. For the past month, it's rained so much. I've been here 15, 16 years. I've never seen this much rain. Never. We don't live on a floodplain. That's one thing I checked out before we moved in many years ago. So we're good. If it floods here, then you guys are through. Out there, anywhere you're at, it's over. But it's not going to happen that way. I don't know what the heck is going on, man. I'll tell you that. We ain't going to talk about the weather for too long. I just wanted to give you an update.
You got a backup generator?
No.
Oh. All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be okay. So what we going to do? What do we got?
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. Had some computer issues, and I think, as the last two shows have affirmed, we have no more issues. But I'm still not ready to move on. without that sort of shadow hanging over. I'm not ready to say that's it. So we'll see.
It'll be one of those reminder shows. It's been a long time, you and I specifically covering science and what it is. And for the most part, either people have forgotten, or we haven't been highlighting it enough, or hasn't been enough pink writing on the debate because there isn't people coming in punting pseudoscience. The new audience members to understand and appreciate the importance of understanding what science and the scientific methods actually are, and how important that is to the structure of the debate and ultimately the nature of the reality that you are faced with. Further to that, the nature of the deception, how it's come to pass by way of a hijacking of the scientific vernacular used in empirical scientific research. So that's why we're having this show today, and I think it is very important.
How many times do you think I did some either this show or some reasonable facsimile of the show over the past 7 years?
I'd run out of percentages to count them on.
Yeah. It's been a lot, right? I know if there's a lot of new people, I understand. I don't mind doing the presentations over and over again. I don't have an issue with it. I twist them up a little bit so they're not exactly the same. But it seems that I'm getting the same rebuttals from the same people for the most part, generally speaking, for many, many years now. It's quite disturbing, actually. So I don't know what's going on. You guys must not be paying attention. Not everyone, but particular to the anti-flat earthers. We had a couple new challengers that, would like to take the Pepsi challenge. They were chat skanking earlier. As it were, it was last night because I was putting out the ads for the show today. So I didn't spend too much time and I just put the ads in and then left it. I had something else to do, but I went back in this morning and we had a couple chat skankers that wanted to, leave their comments and their thoughts on what was going to happen and what natural science and the scientific method is. So we're going to shout you out to Dakith, and Mike Oxlong. Now, I had some few choice words. I was very polite to them and told them that they better have their butts in this chat or in the voice stream today because we want them to educate us because apparently we don't know what we're talking about. And the comment that kept coming out was that I only use, now it's jumped up to 9th grade science resources. It used to be elementary school resources, so all of a sudden it must have changed. Now I use 9th grade science resources. So we're going to have to see about that. I hope they come in. I didn't get a response from them after I told them they better get their 4th point of contact in, or I'm going to ban their dumbasses. Now, they could weasel out by saying, we didn't get that message in time. But that's okay. I'm not going to ban. If that's the case, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But you'll be in here by the next Ballbuster show. I'll guarantee you that. Or your asses are getting banned. So either today or 2 weeks from now. Do you got me there, Dakith and Mike Oxlong, the chat skank supreme? Just wanted to lay that out there.
Alrighty then.
We good?
Yeah, good. I have no idea where we're going to start, as is the case with every single presentation I've ever been a part of ever. But maybe you can lead the way. Maybe I can get a cup of coffee.
You're going to go get a cup of coffee?
It depends what happens next. We'll see. It's exciting times.
I can't stand it. OBS is jacking up with me for some reason. I don't know why. Why are you doing that? Hold on 1 second.
All right.
Try that. And that ain't gonna work. I got you now. I got you.
Live stream's fine. Live feed's good.
Live. Yeah, I know it's good. Studio mode. Let's go there. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Just give me a few seconds, folks, and we'll be just fine. Nope, that's
So,
wrong.
While QE's fucking around with OBS Studio, I think the reason this has come up as a topic recently is slightly unusual because there's a lack or a fear, let's say, from the anti-flat earthers to actually confront us on a lot of the current discussions because they actually have to concede that they need a flat earth in order to make the argument. So it's been more dead than usual, let's put it that way. But as a result, what tends to be the case is whatever the argument point of the day is, it's whoever feels they can challenge it with refraction or whatever it was that was the overcome for the last previous generation of arguments on the table. They aren't therefore pumping out the nonsense of science just by accident while they're arguing the current topic. But the people who are there are actually people on our Earth side of the argument that just have some crazy notions about what the world is and have been led down the same garden path with the same hijacking of vernacular that the ballers used. Might as well cover that now, which is to say that's the reason we're doing this. There's a lot of people on our own side who might be cheering us on while we're destroying fundamentalist religious zealots with their scientific claims that are actually pseudoscience. Unfortunately, when it comes to the utilization of the exact same magic trick by our flat earth friends, some of them think that they get a pass. You know, I hear it quite often when it happens. Well, I'm a flat earther. Okay. Doesn't stop you from peddling nonsense, clearly, as you are. Okay, that's why we're here.
Oh, and just an update. I just got back. Betty said that the thumbnail was meant to be facetious. So I set the people straight with the presentation.
Oh, that's cool. I like it. Now I like it. Glad she said that. That makes me a lot happier.
And Tarot 3006, she sent a message too. QE is 3 minutes late. Probably the only time this will ever happen. Glad to be the witness. I told you why I was late. I had a little technical difficulties. That's the only reason why I'm late. I'm usually never late. I'm quite a punctual person. I take pride in it. So,
did I just hear you correctly? I'm usually never late.
for the most part, I'm not late. There's got to be extenuating circumstances that impact. Because I am a punctual person.
40% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Yeah, 100% of the time, if no other variables are impacting, then I'm punctual. I'm here. I'm either here or I'm dead. So if I'm not on time, you know that some extraneous thing is mucking with me. We all clear?
Or Discord for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that'll do it. Let's get into it, man.
Let's get into it. You mean I can go and make a cup of coffee?
You can, are you going to be able to hear it?
Of course.
Okay, yeah, you're good. Because I'm going to jump into it. All right, mic discipline out there, guys, in Discord, please. All right, this is the nature or natural science and the scientific method. We're going to see, remember, I like to point this out. I'm using the 9th grade thing. So whenever we get to citations or any support for things, we're going to check and see if it's 9th grade or not. I'm going to stop on those just for GP. But we're going to start with paleontology, anthropology, archaeology, geology, evolutionary biology. Yes, I'm still laughing, and whatever that is. Theoretical physics, obviously, as soon as we say that, it's non-experimental. Astrophysics, astronomy, and cosmology. Remember, these are all frigging demonstrable pseudosciences. All of them. I'm going to show you right here in a couple seconds. It's pretty easy to identify them. These are all essentially religions, right? Belief without evidence. Basket weaving is more scientific than these clowns combined. Why is that? Well, the first 6 pretenders can't get to the first step of the scientific method. That's natural science. Observe a phenomenon without a time machine, right? They can't get there. They just can't make it. The blue guys. The final 3 masqueraders, astrophysics, astronomy, and cosmology, can't formulate scientific hypotheses because they lack viable independent variables. Simple as that. Therefore, they can't isolate, test, and validate their dependent variables, their predictions. That's another word that's getting used rampantly. It was used again last night. Prediction, we could predict, we could look at this and then we could predict it. No, that's not a scientific prediction. A scientific prediction is a hypothesis. That's all it is. If you say you can predict, my next question to you is show me the hypothesis, because you can't get to the prediction, which is a scientific hypothesis, without the scientific hypothesis. It's not a prediction. And I don't know, unless you're, equivocating with the term prediction, what you might be Gene Dixon or Edgar Casey, perhaps. We didn't factor that in. We'll ferret it out during the discussion, though. My word. The true sciences. There's a caveat with these guys, too. The true sciences are physics, that is quantum mechanics, genetics, chemistry, biochemistry, and biology. The true sciences. Now, there's a caveat with these guys. Each claim from any of these disciplines must be accompanied by experiment, preferably repeated, validating each claim. They don't get a free ride because most of these guys can do natural science. You're going to find natural science or experiments that conform to the scientific method. And you're going to find things that are not, right? So the things that they do that are natural science don't cover or cloak those things that try to run under the skids that are greased. Because a lot of people try to do that. They usually don't. The people involved in these things, I'm not going to say everyone, but that usually comes from outside these disciplines. So again, like I said, each claim from any of these guys has to be validated by experiment. No free rides here. You make a claim from any of these disciplines, first we're going to ask you what the observed natural phenomena is. You guys know the routine, right? Next, we're going to ask for the hypothesis, and next we're going to ask for the experiment. No mystery here, right? If they don't have an experiment, then it equals cod swallow horse pucky. In other words, now the things that they validated previously in any of these disciplines, that's not horse pucky. It's just the current claim that's not backed by experiment is therefore horse pucky. Get it? And this is very important. There's been a lot of people doing this lately. It ebbs and flows. Do not fallaciously indict the actual sciences as pseudosciences. Somebody's off of mute. Mic discipline out there, guys.
Who's
Thank
Arwen?
you. Yeah, Arwen.
What?
Mute.
I was on mute all the time.
Again, do not fallaciously indict the actual sciences as pseudosciences. Because if you do, I'm going to put your ass in a sling. Okay? It's going to happen really quick and you're going to get upset. Just don't do it. I gave you the reasons why not to do it. Right? So these guys cannot conform to the scientific method for various reasons. I just explained why. These guys can. And we had a couple caveats in there, so just be on the lookout, right? Be hyper-specific. Because a couple of these guys, and we're going to go over these a little bit later, they'll pop up during the discussion, chemistry and biology have a couple sections in them that have nothing to do with natural science. Not that these other guys don't, but it's more prevalent in chemistry and biology. But we'll touch on those here in a few minutes. Semantics, this is really fun. The other day, well, let's just go through it, and then I'll come back to it. So words, they kind of mean things, right? That's how we communicate with each other. It's specifically emphasized in natural science, right? I didn't just make this up. Let's take a look. Anne-Marie Helmstein, PhD, biomedical science. I don't know. Is that ninth grade? Anne-Marie, are you a ninth grade teacher? Words have precise meanings in science. Pretty cut and dry, right? From Nielsen, Peter, natural, synthetic, and artificial. From DNA, PNA, XNA. This is from the NCBI database, NIH.gov. Is this right here? Is this ninth grade? Interesting. Listen closely. Isn't all scientific communication precise language is essential for giving and receiving messages correctly? It doesn't even have to be scientific communication. We're just in that context, right? Because any communication, you have to use precise language or you're not going to communicate well with each other. This is a duh. Right? If I need to explain why, then you got bigger problems than whether the earth is flat or a sphere or not. And the last one, Dr. Mary Schweitzer. Exactly. Oh, is she in ninth grade? Is Dr. Mary Schweitzer teaching her students in ninth grade at North Carolina State? Do they have ninth grade at North Carolina State? Any NC State graduates, can you pipe in? Or chime in, pipe up? She says, exactly. That's one of the things I drive my students crazy on. Words count. Words are important. Choose your words carefully. A funny thing to that. See, what I've started doing is before I get into discussions with numpties, I'll go ahead and bring this up. I will stop the discussion and say, listen here. I'll say from Dr. Mary Schweitzer, and I'll tell them where she's from and, from the fame that she received with the dino soft tissue, bones. So I'll say, listen, this is what she said. She said, words count. Words are important. Choose your words carefully, right? And I say, do you agree with that? You think that's important? The other day, guy said, yeah. 5 minutes later, he charged me with semantics. I said, wait a second. Remember what we were talking about? Yeah. 5 minutes. Wasn't 5 minutes. Unbelievable. So overall, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the Socratic method. The Webster's New World College Dictionary. Is that ninth grade? They got college in ninth grade? I was just checking. So the Socratic method, a method of teaching or discussion like that used by Socrates, in which by means of a series of questions and answers, the logical soundness of a definition is tested, the meaning of a concept examined. So, what we use here is the Socratic method. It's self-evident. In order to communicate appropriately, like we just looked at above, right, we have to define our terms. Now, we don't have to define and is and pedantic stuff like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you're going to use a word, right, that's outstanding, that's scientific, right, we're going to ask you what that means, right? So we're all on the same sheet of music. Not only you, but us, the interlocutor, and more importantly, the audience. Because I'm going to stop you. Yeah, it's going to be tedious and painstaking, but we got to do what we got to do. Okay? Any questions? Let's stop right here. Any questions up to this point? Because I feel that this is pretty important.
Might be worth defining what a Socratic method actually is.
Yes, I just did.
Well, you said series of questions, and when somebody uses a word like science, actually going through what the definition of the word is to them in context, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
I know you just defined it. I just want to reiterate it.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, it's very important. Yes. Yeah. I think any reasonable, rational person understands this as apodictic, right? I would hope so. Okay, that's fine. We can continue. Any objections?
No, no, carry on.
Any final word out there? I think I'd pop. Let me check Discord first. Let me see if those two numpties are in here. Nope, they're not in here just yet. Okay. Let's put that down and back again. Here we go. Right in it again. Knee deep. So we got to actually define what we're talking about, right? So science comes from scientia, from sciens and scio. Basically, it means to know or knowledge, right? Now, that has a very different definition than natural science. Now, this is from Cambridge, and it's basically, it doesn't define it actually. It just gives examples of what are science, right? And it's a bit of tautology because they put nature in the definition. It's a bit tautologist. I'm not overly concerned about that. It's just not defined. I find it interesting, though. From Cambridge, like I said, natural science. Subjects such as biology, physics, and chemistry in which things that can be seen in nature are studied. What stands out there, everyone? There's a couple things. It's not complete, right? And it's a little wonky. I'll let them slide for the sake of getting to more important stuff. But where's astrophysics, paleontology, right? Anthropology? Where's evolution here? Where's cosmology at? Why aren't those in here? I'll leave that as rhetorical. Natural science from Oxford Dictionaries. Natural science, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study. Systematic. Wonder what that is. Of the structure and the behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Right? Pretty simple. I think it's self-explanatory, right? So there's the differences between science and natural science. Try not to equivocate. I know we just say science in the present, or not in the presentations, but on the shows. And I've been trying to catch myself and say natural science to make the delineation clear. Sometimes I skip, just to keep things abbreviated. But when we talk about science in the context that we're in, we mean natural science, just so everyone knows. We mean this one, right? We're just not talking about general knowledge.
Can I pipe up here?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Only because I disagree.
You disagree?
You gave a redundant qualification for it.
Go ahead.
You're like, the arena we're in, we're talking about nature, aka natural science. But as a result of the first statement, you don't need to make the second statement. Ipso facto, when we talk about science, it already is contextualized with nature and the world we're experiencing. On my show, it's called Flat Earth Debate. That immediately contextualizes it to natural science.
Fair enough. I can understand that. I'm thinking contextually of in a vacuum.
I understand that. And yeah, okay. In a vacuum, you've got to qualify which discussion point you're having, because you might be capable of not being accused of an etymological fallacy when you say scientia, if I'm saying it correctly, meaning to know, knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's it. That's all I was going to say. In a vacuum, yeah, you have to qualify it. But me, personally, and the arena we find ourselves in when we talk about it on this show, BALLBUSTERs, for me, it's already contextualized. It doesn't need any apologetics made for it, and I won't make them. Just so that's on record.
Okay, that's fair enough. I understand what you're saying because you're saying the context is already set.
Precisely.
Yep. Fair enough. So, from the University of Rochester... What?
Evening. I just wanted to say, I thought there was an opportunity just to say evening because I promised I'd dip in, say hello, and have the opportunity to wish my son happy birthday. Happy birthday, Leo.
Oh, that's right. Your son's... I forgot about that, Adam. Sorry, that's on me.
Just
Happy birthday, Leo.
to dip in because we raised this science point then. when Nathan ended one of the shows with it, and there was a little bit of detail when I was talking about my textbook. So, like my pharmaceutics textbook, which is how you make medicines. These books are labeled "The Science of Pharmaceutics" or "The Science of this," and it has a really, really, really ultra specific meaning that I did have to look up. If you're going to use science in the formation of a book of knowledge, it means to have a very systematically organized, methodical way of presenting the evidence in relation to the topic. Then you can call that the science in terms of talking about a textbook. You can use that title legitimately, because in that case, it means a very organized, structural way of presenting all of the information, data, facts, truths, with regards to a particular topic.
All right. Is that it? Are you leaving?
Yeah, I'm done. That was it. It was just Nathan had said it the other day, and it was just something that I bothered to just investigate that a little bit further as to how and why that nuance was there, where you can see books. I think Ten brought it up, the science of navigation or something, and what that contextually means when on the front of a cover of a book you're saying the science of navigation. What are they claiming then, the authors? And that's what it means. It means we've bothered to take all of the information and organize it in a structured manner for you to digest.
What I hear is greasing the skids. That's all I hear.
Well, no, because it comes from a time when there wasn't this propaganda with the word science. There was the intelligence of individuals involved in this to use the word in its differentiations and to place the significance of the word relative to its distinguishment, as opposed to just automatically assume it means cause and effect.
Fair enough.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
Totally random. Sorry.
No, that wasn't random at all. Are you going to be staying with us or leaving?
I'm going to try and listen, but we've got a game of poker coming up, so we're just starting to number down.
Texas Hold'em?
I've got a question for Adam just before he goes, just in case he does. Then I would have saved it till the end just to not interrupt the flow. But the other day we discussed a psychologist. That's right, she wasn't a psychiatrist. Psychologist, I believe. Might have been a psychiatrist, I forget. Who said that she was claiming the science, and she put across her exacting knowledge based on the I can't remember what you just said to paraphrase it. God damn it!
Perfect. No, exactly. No, she can't do that unless she's writing a book and wants to title the book "The Science of Psychology," which would be a documented and systematically organized collation of all the knowledge gained in the topic of psychology. Not what she's presenting. Again, there she's trying to make out that the validity of her evidence has the empirical weight and validity of science, the scientific method behind it. No, that's stealing, cheating.
So could the DSM be called the science of psychology?
No, it's reserved for writing on the front of a book. It specifically relates to the way in which the information is organized in a methodical manner and presented in a publication. So that's the use of the word science in terms of the science of psychology, the science of navigation, pharmaceutics, whatever. It's the word science there relates to specifically the categorical organization in a methodical way of all the information in that topic presented in a publication.
So this DSM could be accurately titled "The Science of Psychology" then?
DSM, just sorry.
Yeah, instead of DSM, instead of the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual, you just call it "The Science of Psychology," because it's laid out in a methodical way, is it not?
I think it would have to lay out all of it. Wouldn't be a. It would have to be the science of DSM there, whatever that it has to be specific to a particular topic. You couldn't take one section of a topic and claim that that is the science of. It's just a part of. But again, it's specific to it being the title on a publication for it to be legitimate. So I can't say this is the science of. I'm using the science of psychology and give you a bit of psychology and claim that as science. If I want to make a publication, I'm entitled, and it's encompassing in a methodical manner all the information in the topic of psychology. Yeah, I'm entitled to title it the science of psychology. That's my understanding the nuance and why we see it popping up here and there.
Okay, I'll just have to accept that, I guess.
It's not me making a point. That's the best understanding of why that bloody thing appears on the fronts of books. It was 10 science and navigation. That made me wonder what it is, but that seems to be the justification within the use of the word historically.
All right, we got Dracuth out here. He's going to be coming into the show, Nathan, so just make a mental note of that. We'll get back to him towards the end of the presentation. How about that?
In VC now?
He's going to get in there. He said he's going to set up his mic. He's Mr. Ninth Grade. So, chart.
I'd be willing to drop presentation and go straight to him, but whatever you want to do, it's your show.
We'll have to see. We'll play it by ear. So, I've been trying to get this out for about 20 minutes, so let's try this. So, the University of Rochester Physics Labs. I don't know. Is this ninth grade? Is the University of Rochester ninth grade? I don't know. Somebody tell me. The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. I don't know any other clear way that this could be said. To have natural science, you have to have experiment. It's a must. It's a requirement. Natural science cannot exist without experimentation. Point blank. From Michael Crichton, testimony before the U.S. Senate Committee on Environment and Public Work. I don't know. Is the U.S. Senate Committee, is that ninth grade? Michael Crichton, ninth grade? Right? You probably think he's just a movie director, don't you? You don't know that he graduated from Harvard Medical School, right? Most probably don't know that. What he told the Senate, he said, science is nothing more than a method of inquiry. He is exactly right. It's nothing more than that. He also added from Caltech. What do you think? They have a movie director, just arrive at Caltech and start speaking? Is that what you guys think? There's no such thing as consensus science. If it's consensus, it isn't science. If it's science, it isn't consensus. Period. Duh. Consensus is more like religion. People just can't differentiate the two. From the Law Dictionary, scientific evidence, the testing of a hypothesis or theory that is objective and in a controlled environment. It's pretty cut and dry. You see any equations, models, gummy bears, or pictures in there? That probably wouldn't be allowed as scientific evidence, right? Either of them. The only thing that's allowed is a hypothesis. But saying a theory, that's redundant because a theory is made up of one or more hypotheses. So, everyone got that? Now, the scientific method. This is the scientific method that was placed up on a chalkboard when I was in 5th grade. Now, I bolded the first, third, and fourth steps and left the other ones go. Not that the other ones are not important, right? They're more logistical and administrative steps, right? For our purposes, these three are a must. They're the absolute minimum. Step 1, observe a natural phenomenon. Step 3, construct formal hypothesis. Step 4, test experiment. That scientific method. Like I said, the other steps are administrative and logistical. Not that they're not important, but we're not going to get into those. think it's self-evident. Step 1, you get the dependent variable. From step 3, construct formal hypothesis. You combine your supposition, which includes the independent variable, with the dependent variable. Very easy. And then step 4, you add the controller constants. Pretty simple. Let's go to the University of Rochester physics labs. Professor Wolf's. I don't know. Did I already ask about was 9th grade? Did I have 9th grade at the University of Rochester? Just checking. So let me go through all of it. There's a couple red marks in here. We'll circle around and deal with those. So 1, observation and description of a phenomena or group of phenomena. 2, formulation of a hypothesis to explain the phenomena. In physics, the hypothesis often takes the form of a causal mechanism or a mathematical relation. That's incorrect. Number 3, use of the hypothesis to predict the existence of other phenomena. That's incorrect. Dependent variable, or to predict quantitatively the results of new observations. That's incorrect. Number 4, performance of experimental tests of the predictions by several independent experimenters and properly performed experiments. That is correct. So to circle back, I tried to contact Professor Wolf's just to clear this up. I outlined the whole citation for you. Obviously, the red marks are wrong. The hypothesis doesn't explain anything. Suppositions don't explain things. Duh. In physics, the hypothesis often takes the form, no, always takes the form of a causal mechanism every single time. Dependent, independent variable. What else are you going to do with it? There's no mathematics in hypotheses. None. 0. The use of the hypothesis to predict the existence of other phenomena. Why would you do that? You're not testing it, the other phenomena. You're testing a single phenomena. That's the dependent variable. Why would you try to predict something? You need another hypothesis, not that hypothesis. Right? So you see where the mistakes are? They're very, very easy to reconcile. I was going to help them.
John.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like that. I love the way you've highlighted in red. This is where, certainly, before you slap me with a fish, you would do stuff. And you can see how these can be conflated. But it's important just to categorize what you're doing there. If you go to number 3, you're going to use a hypothesis. First of all, if you've proved the hypothesis to be correct, it doesn't need to predict anything else. It will tell you what anything else will be quantitatively. But if you're going to do those things, and where you're going to do them is before. So you've got a kind of crazy ass idea, and you think X equals all these sorts of things. But to prove it, you're going to have to do a very expensive experiment. But you could test whether or not it'd be worth doing that experiment to ascertain cause and effect by doing something that would be predictive. If it was going to work, it would at least show us this much. You could do that as part of your initial inquiries. So going right back to the beginning, probably the point that's not mentioned, research in any great detail. But these are the things that they use to mug you off, because you know you do these things, but it's where you then place them within the scientific method that is the misnomer, the shenanigans that's being played here. To imply that is part, it isn't. But to get to a really definitive hypothesis with an experiment to back it up, you might have done those things to get there. I have. Do you know what I mean? But it's not, and that's the distinction, to recognise what's just your abductive reasoning to get you to the point of a proper hypothesis that you can test with the experiment.
Yeah, these little additions are greasing the skids for the ancillary pseudosciences to weasel their way into natural science. It ain't going to work, Professor Wolf's.
It's not just that. It's how we, as when we're not flat earthers and we're not got our what is science hat on, this is how it's exactly how it's weaseled in to convince you that you've just done a bit of science. When if you take the step back and go back to 9th grade, frankly, it's the ninth grade that reminds you where the science is, and that's what I'm just differentiating there. Not wrong with that, but don't call it science.
Yes, sir. All right, get down
But
there.
now I hear it everywhere though.
What's that?
I can clearly, like, just the use of the word science, right? Like it, now that I know this, like I've gone through this before, like everywhere now I can see where the term science is weaponized and used to, like you guys say, to grease the skids, to make people think they're actually looking at or listening to or doing science when they're not actually doing that. It's so clear now.
Yep.
It's kind of funny when you think about it. I hear it all day. Every time I'm watching television or some commercial, it's like, science, this, that, the third. It's like, it's crazy.
Sorry, guys, I forgot to put the dependent variable is what I added. This wasn't in the citation, so sorry about that. Here, let me put brackets. It just denotes what phenomena are, and that is the dependent variable. So we should be squared. Yep, we're squared away now. Let me make this black too. I just caught that. Oh, not bold, black.
Did you want to? Was it this Drakith guy? Is that who you said was the chap you were waiting on?
Yeah, he can relax for a little bit. Even though we're destroying him with every time I stop with ninth grade. He'll just interrupt the presentation. So just hold off. It won't be too much longer, and we'll get to him at the end. Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't ban you because you did come in. So kudos to you. So you won't be banned no matter what happens. So back to the presentation. The scientific method. Do you see that D up there? It's not methods. Never was. Back to Anne-Marie Helmestein, PhD Biomedical Sciences. I guess she's a ninth grade teacher. The number of steps varies from one description to another, mainly when data and analysis are separated into a separate step. But this is a fairly standard list of 6 scientific method steps. This is the really important part, which you are expected to know for any science class. Yeah, you're expected to know. Now, I can't speak for anyone else. I was never taught the scientific method at university. Never. Was never brought up. Because you were expected to know it before you got there. Just so we're clear on that. I don't know what happened to Adam. Adam, I'm sure they didn't teach you this. Or I could be wrong. Did they teach it?
I think I sit back, but fundamentally, no, you're expected to know it. But I think sometimes I've back to some of my really old school chemistry teachers. They're the ones that you remind me of when you we had those early chats. Yeah,
Yeah.
that poke in the ribs, and certainly when I remember getting to third year, the guy that invented Gaviscon, Dr. Vaughan, he was very much like that. He would make you think, be very provocative of what was the cause, what was stuff. But no, it'd make you think and ask the question and challenge you. But no, fundamentally, you were expected to know. And I think that's part of, I'm being honest and critical of myself, why I didn't perform as well as I could have done. Because I wasn't always applying scientific method to stuff. I was taking some of those quantitative relationships and assuming that was a proof. And I think when you talk about greasing the skids, because when you get to that level, you're expected to know, but are they going to differentiate for you? No, because they want you to believe something at this point. Up to you to differentiate and make a name for yourself, isn't it? It's still repeat and digest and repeat still even at degree level.
Yeah, I was never taught it. I always knew, and I was in an actual science, natural science discipline. So it was never taught. They never brought it up because you were expected to know it, is what I'm trying to say. I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure they're not teaching it. You're learning it in grade school, and I don't remember too much from high school. That's another story. I'm not going to digress from there, but you kind of catch where I'm going. So in summary, the king of the scientific method is experiment. It's birthed from the queen hypothesis, which is birthed from the first step of the scientific method, observe a natural phenomena. As hinted at earlier, the critical indispensable steps are observe a natural phenomena, formulation of a hypothesis, and experiment. You cannot have science, that is natural science, without these three. Can't have it. Ain't going to work. 66% of the experiment is the hypothesis. 50% of the hypothesis is natural phenomena observed. That's the dependent variable. And again, this is sprinkled in throughout the presentation from 9th grade University of Rochester physics labs. The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. Pretty cut and dry. Let's go through some of the steps. The first step from the Geosociety from Kristen McClellan. I don't think this is 9th grade. The first process in the scientific method involves the observation of a phenomena, event, or a problem. Back to University of Rochester Physics Labs, 9th grade. The scientific method has 4 steps: observation and description of a phenomena or group of phenomena. You hear that familiar echo everywhere you go. Wonder why. From radford.edu, must be 9th grade too, from that university, naturalistic observation. I kind of like this one. Observation of a behavior in a more or less natural setting without any attempt to intervene. The situation is not manipulated or controlled by the investigator, and the situation has not been initiated or created by the investigator. Very interesting. So when anyone has a question on what's a natural observation, there you go. They defined it for you. Pretty self-explanatory, don't you think? Next block of instruction: how to point at a horse. From Niels Bohr, 9th grade Niels Bohr, I would suppose. As quoted in Science and the Ultimate Reality, Quantum Theory, Cosmology and Complexity. Cambridge University. Cambridge University, is that 9th grade? No phenomena is a phenomenon unless it is an observed phenomena. So, it's not ask a question from science buddies, the wiki Google searches. It's not observe concrete nouns, trees, rocks, shoes. It's not conjure a phenomena. Black holes, dark matter, multiverses, singularities. It's observed phenomena. Any questions on that?
2 points to make.
Go ahead.
First was in relation to what Adam said, which is that Gaviscon guy drilled home, you've got to establish the cause. Got to be hyper specific. Just something to digest. Was the first point. The second one was there's no maths in science, but 50% of the hypothesis is the dependent variable. Just thought I'd drop that in.
Was that a joke?
You trying to be cute? I'm sorry, I was on mute. You trying to be cute?
Yeah, it was cute.
The Gaviscon guy gave Adam something to digest, and you've given a percentage value for hypothesis. You've qualified it with maths. just thought I'd drop that in.
It's an outside qualification or quantification, not of the inherent part of the hypothesis, though. Follow? Yikes!
Yes, I'm t-shirts. Yes, I am.
Okay, you guys
And
didn't.
described everything in math.
You guys didn't hear that big thunder boomer?
Nope.
I heard it. It shut me right up.
Damn, man.
Not saying don't be cheeky. Remember where you got this knowledge to be cheeky with.
Yeah, be careful. You're walking on hallowed ground. So obviously, natural was a big part of what I was talking about in those definitions above. So guess what we're going to have to do now? We're going to have to use the Socratic method. What do you exactly mean by natural there, QE? Well, let me tell you. Natural world, this is from Merriam-Webster. All of the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people. Interesting. Wonder if they're off the reservation. Let's try Oxford Dictionaries. Natural. Existing in or derived from nature. Not made or caused by humankind. From vocabulary.com, something that comes from nature rather than being man-made. Interesting. All echoing, more or less saying the same thing. From Cambridge, natural, from nature, not artificial or involving anything made or caused by people. So this is a dichotomy, and they're kind of stressing it, right? They got, on one hand, they got nature juxtaposed with humankind or man-made, just in case that wasn't obvious to you, with the highlights. Hopefully we're good with that. I know we're not good, because that's all I hear. Well, QE, man's natural, so everything's natural. My word. Then we got this word. This is what brings them to their knees. Synthetic. Duh. From Merriam-Webster, man-made, manufactured, created, or constructed by human beings, specifically synthetic. Let's see what this actually means. Let's go to Nielsen Peter from Natural, Synthetic, and Artificial, from Artificial DNA, PNA, and XNA, 2010, from NCBI database, NIH.gov. Is this 9th grade? Are we in 9th grade in NCBI database from NIH.gov? Just saying. There, Draka. As in all scientific communication, listen to this first sentence. We've gone over this before. As in all scientific communication, precise language is essential for giving and receiving messages correctly. Shocking. I digress. Thus, artificial would mean generally, or would generally mean something not found in nature, and synthetic would mean something that is man-made. Now we're going to get to the brass tacks. Listen closely. To make a chemistry analogy, chemically synthesized B12 vitamin would not be considered artificial, as it is chemically, analytically, and functionally indistinguishable from naturally isolated B12 vitamin. But, and that's a really big but, it is not natural either. That is obtained from nature. It is synthetic. See the differences yet? I know you don't. I'm gonna be hit up with this later this evening. Man's natural, QE. I don't know how any other way to make this any more clear. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm all ears. So, they're ad hoc, feebly conjured, made-up bollocks. The only choices are natural and supernatural, QE. That's the only ones. Is belly laughed and pummeled into the incoherent oblivion. Point of order, ladies and gentlemen, the jury. The difference between natural and synthetic can be reconciled in less than 2 friggin' seconds by any semi-coherent third grader. So now that we have identified 2 categories, natural and synthetic, or man-made, are there any commonalities between the two? Each one has more of the following: chemical formula or structure, charge, matter, momentum, or spin, or milli-electron volts, kcals, or kilojoules. That's matter/energy, correct? The actual situation is not a dichotomy, it is a trichotomy. Natural versus synthetic versus supernatural. I'm going to show you why. Number one, we already went over this. Natural. All of the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people. Pretty simple. Synthetic, which we just got done going over. Anything man-made. And then supernatural. Super means, the prefix means above nature. Natural. That is the immaterial. Without matter energy. Pretty simple stuff here. Here they are. And here's some examples. Supernatural, information, time, thoughts, etc. Right? Because you can't put any chemical formula or structure or any energy measurement on information, time, and thoughts. It's just that easy. Right? But they do exist. Are you saying that supernatural doesn't exist? Are you saying information, time, and thoughts, mathematics don't exist? Is that what you're saying?
Wait,
That's what
no.
you would have to say. Right?
What?
So, what?
Look, I have a question.
Huh.
Because I thought that time was just a derived concept.
Well,
It's not actually real.
well,
It's
it
more
actually
like-
exists. Time exists, but we refer to it. Or are you saying we don't refer to time at all?
Yeah,
Non-physical.
it's just a derived convention.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
physical.
What is the substance of time?
Yeah, it's a convention. That's fine. Yeah, it still follows.
Yeah, but that's an idea. That's not really a substance. That
So are
can be
thoughts.
proven.
Do
Right.
thoughts
Then it would
exist?
be a subcategory of that.
Do thoughts exist?
Yeah, supernatural's the subcategory.
All right.
But we're almost done. You could chime in here in a second. I'm just going to get through these three. We're going to stop here because I want it to burn in people's retinas. So you got supernatural, like I said, information, time, and thoughts. Then you got the physical and natural. Trees, water, light, frogs, and sulfur. And then you have man-made. Cheerios, barbecue grills, shoes, headphones, and Indy cars. Now, in some instances, there's some crossover, right? Each case has to be reconciled within the boundaries of that case. So we're not being vague. We'll have to go in there and root it out. But I'm stressing this because there's not two categories. It's not a dichotomy. It is a trichotomy. There's three categories that everything can fit in. Questions and comments on this? I'm going to leave it up.
Well, I was just to go back. I was a little bit confused about you including time there. Information, thoughts, absolutely. Even knowledge, I'd say yes. Knowing which path would be a supernatural substance that you can vary and manipulate. But time really is just a convention-derived concept, so it would be not like a supernatural thing, more like a subcategory
Okay.
of conventions which falls under thoughts.
Okay. I can understand that. There would be some crossover. You think it's man-made?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
There,
supernaturally
yeah.
man-made.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead.
just for the audience's benefit, what Quantum Eraser and Arwen are about to partake in is the Socratic method. Please continue.
Thank you. Yes. So, like I said, there's some crossover in specific examples. I would say that time would have some crossover here.
It's just that it was placed right in between the other two, even though it is kind of a subcategory of it.
So that's
Was it
bothering you
just-
right here is what you're saying.
Yeah, kind of. Like making it, yeah. It's just because I've been conditioned so much through FED logically about time just being a convention, a concept. It's not a substance. Not even,
Hold
it's
on,
not
I've got
its own substance
hold on,
within the
Arwen.
supernatural.
It's when it's being abused as a physical cause of something that happens on the debate. So if you want to consider time as the underpinnings of all existence, that much is at least qualifiable in your mind as something that you exist in, as opposed to something physical. So that comparison is where our opponents, i.e. ballers and anti-flat earthers, will use time as the cause, as the direct physical cause of something, which obviously it cannot be. That's not to say that you don't exist in time, as opposed to exist on the back of a unicorn. Now, a unicorn can be described and qualified and all the other things that time can be, but there's no representation in non-physical, supernatural existence with unicorns. There is nothing to qualify them in that regard, but you can qualify time in that regard.
What? I object. There is. Supernatural
Well,
is
unicorns. Go on,
no,
make
but
the gag.
unicorn is just a concept. That's the thing you can actually prove because you can't very manipulate it, just like time. You can only let time pass. You can't actually manipulate the flow of time. So it's not proven. And supernatural things are supposed to be proven substances.
Okay, hold on, Arwen.
Not
I just
you
want to
can-
hold on. I just want to let the audience know that Arwen and Nathan are now discussing or getting into the Socratic method. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, but in the way that you can't qualify a unicorn as a cause, nor can you qualify time as a cause, you can put it into descriptive terms when you just did a moment ago, in terms of saying that you can't vary and manipulate it physically when you experience it passing. So there's a very supernatural entity to time in terms of the way you just described it. But you couldn't do the same thing with unicorns. You couldn't give it a qualification that made its existence in your life, non-physical existence, supernatural existence, qualifiable. Make sense?
Can
Yes,
I have a
but
bang on
hold
this
hold
one?
on. Before you go, I'll keep it short. My point is that knowing which path is something that we can actually very manipulate. So it is a legitimate supernatural thing that is scientific. Time is not, because you can't actually vary and manipulate that. You can only describe it. So it becomes like a convention, not proven. It exists derived from the substance of information, which is provable to an extent, but it only lives within the convention. It is not scientifically viable.
Okay, yeah, okay. The same. I'll have one last bash, then I'll hand over to Adam. Is entropy real?
Well, yes.
You qualify it in the way you denounced time in terms of the varying and manipulating of entropy's cause.
No, it's an effect.
It sits at the same standard. It's an effect, but there's no qualified way to vary and manipulate it. It becomes
That's
a concept.
a bit over my head.
It's just a description, is my point.
I
Like time can
understand.
be.
Right, but the thing is though that the passage of time is something that we can keep it short, we can keep it long. That's something we can actually do something with and then test what the influence will be. But
Perfect.
time
I'll let you
as a
beautifully. I'll
separate
let you beautifully.
substance, we have no influence.
I'll let you. Hold
whatsoever.
on. I've led you. Let me get to the end. So, how is entropy qualified, Arwin?
As a natural law,
And how's it described?
something that happens always.
Over what now?
I guess it is involved within the passage of time.
And there you have it. Right, beautiful.
Right.
Adam, if you've got anything to add to that, I think I did perfectly.
All right, but that's the passage of time. That's not time.
Like that's probably my point. You can use a sand clock, you can use a clock, whatever. I want to boil an egg. I know it takes 3 minutes to boil that egg, so I use those devices accurately in my reality. Boil an egg for 3 minutes. Do any of those devices measure time?
No, it wouldn't matter if you measured it in shadow movement.
Exactly. The difference between what we experience and what we're attributing, which is way beyond me, even as a Doctor Who fan. And this is the trouble when we try to put this thing into another dimension, which is what Einstein does, as if it is that. Time for me is just a convention we can use. There's no cause, it's no effect. It's just it's just the passage of time, isn't it? And we can use that to make other things, but we can't ascribe anything to it. But
Right. the concept of time is derived from the passage of time, which is something that's real and palpable.
I've heard Quantum Eraser, so we hand back to him on several occasions define time quite beautifully. Hopefully he'll do that now.
Time is the conceptual medium in which we find ourselves in. That is the universe and us. That's all it is.
That sounds like
Measure it.
Einsteinian bullshit.
I think of it as just the progression of existence.
That's Einsteinian bullshit. What?
Sorry, it just
No.
sounds like that.
No, that's good.
offense.
I'm glad Chocolate said that. That gives me another lead in to say something. There's a very fine line between the eloquence of language in the Socratic method and meeting of minds. Describe something, which we've just done with time. And when we get to, which is why I led QQ to do it, description of a conceptual medium, as long as we all understand what that word means, we can understand the eloquence of the words being used to describe something and only describe it. Whereas if you step over that fine line, and it becomes very fine at that point when you're into those semantics and descriptions, you can step over it without anyone noticing, which is what Einstein did. So when Chocolate hears, hang on, I hear a lot of similarities in what Einstein, well, you're not wrong. That's where the fine line is, and that's where he stepped over it. So yes, good point, Chocolate.
That wasn't Chocolate. That was Arwen.
Was it Arwen that said that?
He said that sounds like some Einstein bullshit.
Yeah,
that's
my
what I was responding
apologies
to.
again. No offense.
Yeah,
man.
you're right.
It just sounded like that.
Go ahead, Chocolate.
No, I just said that time simply to me is just the progression of existence. Right? It's basically what QE said, but just less fancy words.
Listen, I was thinking about removing time from the supernatural, but since it's got everyone's panties in a bunch, I'm just going to leave her set there.
I think it's worth having there, definitely.
The point of exploration for me, for the differentiate between the conceptualization and what the hell it actually is, what we use to measure it, and what we try to infer with that is the way the ballers use an atomic clock, send it up higher, and there's a variance in this thing in terms of the way in which the device works, and that's supposed to have an interpretation. Like I said, if I'm boiling an egg, am I really measuring time? No. Yeah, and it's the same thing. These variances, the phenomena that they're supposedly detecting within this device, yeah, that leads these as down this Einsteinian, and as Owen then criticised, you know.
Well, the
That's
device.
the criticism.
Hold on.
It's
Hold on. The device isn't time, though. That's a clock.
But it's the reification of time as into a dimension to now allow it to interact in a way that makes us, stuck in our 3D, make it something pliable, something malleable that's within our dimensions. This is the Einsteinian conceptualization for me. It's to bring something in which is totally conceptual, but is, as Chocolate says, just got to accept it. It's just
Yeah, I just wanted to stress.
something we have control on. It's not something we can measure. It's not something we can manipulate.
Right.
With my point.
Right. A clock's not time. Just like yardsticks aren't a football field.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, and they invoke this thing like, oh, it measures time and it changes time to suggest that there is like some kind of dimensional influence, that there is a gradient in time, right? To conjure that idea that it is a separate dimension and it might lead to some kind of conclusion of space-time causing the heliocentric universe, right? That's what they want.
Exactly.
That's why they bring it up.
That's where it happens. That's where the line gets stepped over, and you go from conceptualization to reification.
Yep.
You go from time being causally linked to it physically doing things.
Yep.
It's bending, it's dilating, it's doing things. suddenly the conceptualization that you described it with is physically doing things. No, but that's where you end up. That's the dangerous road that you walk down after you step over that line, from describing it to reifying it into physically doing things. And then the next thing you know, you're upside down on a ball.
And you then say that it's the cause for density disequilibrium. So once you've reified this thing, which is just a useful way of observing reality, this concept, yeah. Once you reify it then into a fourth form of the 3 dimensions you've got, and you're going to allow it to interact with them, and that's what they're claiming, this interaction that causes down, then you're away in mathematics. But that's the mugging off, isn't it? That's the
yeah.
Right.
All right, we good? I think, hold on. I think we chewed all the meat off this bone. Okay? We could go on for hours about this, but I think we gnarled that off. Can I move on? All right, the point.
Yes, just wanted to say we've been very hungry without BALLBUSTERS for months.
It hasn't been months.
Can't we go to your guest that's waiting in the wings that wants to contradict you?
No, because I'm almost done with the presentation. I don't want to get sidetracked. He's just the 9th grade guy. We'll get to him. Just be patient out there, Draka. Or Draka, or whatever your name is. Just relax. All right, number 1, no synthetic man-made object can enter the scientific method as the observed natural phenomena. That is the dependent variable or the effect. Because every cause of man-made effects is, wait for it, friggin' man. Number 2, quantum mechanics, that is physics, chemistry, biochemistry, genetics, and biology are the natural sciences, not the synthetic sciences. Now, as you can see here, I italicized and colored chemistry and biology a different color because some aspects of those disciplines will fall away from the natural sciences. Not all of it, some of it. All right, that's why I made a mental note, and we talked about those at the beginning of the presentation. Number 3, natural science deals with the natural world, which is evaluated via the scientific method. That is hypothesis-tested experiment. So back again to the 9th grade University of Rochester physics labs. The scientific method distinguishes science. It sets it apart. It distinguishes it from other forms of explanation because of its requirement. It's required to have systematic experimentation. That is to say, if this is subtracted out of what you call science, natural science, and the scientific method, then you don't have natural science or the scientific method. In other words, everyone got that because of this one. Requirement. Hopefully that's clear. So let's keep it simple. Got a 2-step algo. Step 1 is the inquiry concerning nature or a man-made object. If it's B, then it isn't a valid scientific inquiry. Not that it's not true or false, it just can't be evaluated by the scientific method. If it's A, continue to step 2. Step 2, is the inquiry a cause and effect how I question or a what is or existence question? If it's B, that is a what is or existence question, then it isn't a valid scientific inquiry. If it's A, then proceed to the first step of the scientific method. Hopefully everyone's got that, because the hypothesis, which we're going to get into here in a second, is a cause and effect relationship, and only a cause and effect relationship, specifically because of the principles that are in the hypothesis. So let's check this out. So a scientific hypothesis is your experiment statement. It expresses a testable proposed cause and effect relationship, the phenomena that was observed in step 1. So from California Institute, we're going to nature.com. Is this 9th grade? Is California Institute of Technology 9th grade? That's rhetorical. California Institute of Technology physicist Sean Carroll arguing in The Edge that hypotheses aren't simply useful tools in some potentially outmoded vision of science. They are the whole point. They're the whole shebango, using the parlance of our time. So, Lowell C. becoming a successful scientist, strategic thinking for scientific discovery, Cambridge University Press. Is Cambridge University, is that 9th grade? A scientific hypothesis is based on cause and effect reasoning. Shocking. A scientific hypothesis does not merely state X and Y may be related, but explains why they are related. From Drexel University, I suppose Drexel is 9th grade too. The scientific method is hypothesis-driven. One makes an educated guess to explain what? A cause and effect relationship. From Anne-Marie Helmstein, PhD, Biomedical Sciences, 9th grade. A hypothesis is an educated guess based on observation. It's a prediction. A hypothesis is a prediction of cause and effect. Shocking. From Colorado State, Colorado State must be 9th grade too. Scientific hypothesis. It's a special kind of prediction. Not a Gene Dixon, Edgar Casey, Jimmy the Greek prediction. It's a special kind of prediction, because it is scientific over here, that forecasts how the independent variable, the cause, will affect the dependent variable, the effect. That's why independent variables are the cause and dependent variables are the effect. It's a cause and effect relationship, because that's what they are, the cause and the effect. Oh, boy. All right, from the University of North Carolina, that must be 9th grade. In an experiment, the independent variable is the variable that is varied or manipulated by the researcher, and the dependent variable is the response that is measured. An independent variable is your presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable is the presumed effect. The IV is the antecedent, whereas the DV is the consequent. So how can it be anything if hypotheses must have independent and dependent variables in them, and the independent variable is the cause and the dependent variable is the effect? How in the world can you find anything else from a hypothesis other than cause and effect? Por favor. That's rhetorical, by the way. Let's go with these. I pulled a couple out from anti-flat earthers that challenged others with this. So are these valid scientific inquiries? A little test for you out there. I.e., is it a valid scientific hypothesis? Globetard Goober number 1. We want to study whether salmon go back to the same spot they spawned from. Okay, step number 1. We're going to the algo. Is the inquiry concerning nature or B, man-made object? Obviously, no one makes salmon, no man does, so this is nature. Right? So if it's B, then it isn't science. If it's A, we're going to continue to step 2. Step 2, is the inquiry A, cause and effect how I question, or a what is existence question? This seems like an existence question. A what is. Salmon go back to the same spot. That's a what is. That's not trying to explain how or why, right? That's not a cause and effect, right? So this is not a valid scientific hypothesis. Hope everyone got that. We'll do number 2. Globetard Goober number 2. Do people get cancer? And B, do dogs get cancer like human beings get cancer? Right? They doubled your pleasure with this one. So back to the 2-step algo. Is the inquiry concerning nature? Or B, man-made object? Like I said before, if it's B, then it isn't a valid scientific inquiry. If it's A, continue to step 2. Is the inquiry a cause and effect how I question, or a what is or existence question? If it's B, then it isn't a valid scientific inquiry. If it's A, then proceed to the first step of the scientific method. Pretty simple. These aren't valid scientific hypotheses. Right? Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory, and we'll finish up with, remember, from 9th grade, University of Rochester Physics Labs, The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. Can't be any more clear than that. So this ends part 1. Questions, comments, concerns?
I'll just go straight to your guest.
Mr. Ninth Grade.
Yeah.
All right. Where is he? Draketh. You are off mute, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's up?
My mic okay? I haven't used it in a year or two, probably.
Say again?
Is my mic okay? Does
Yes.
it sound okay? I haven't used it in a couple of years.
Yes, it's perfectly
Excuse me,
fine.
I'm also a little sick, so if I start coughing.
Okay. So you made a comment last night that the quality of this presentation that you haven't seen was right around 9th grade. Right? Is
Yep.
that what you said?
Probably.
Yeah, it's
Back to
not
check.
probably. That's what you said. I got it in
Okay.
print.
That's fine.
And my response to that was more or less, look, I just went through the presentation. Did you hear most of it?
I think about half of it.
About half of it. The other half was pretty much the same. Did you hear any 9th grade citations in there, sir?
First of all, let me just say that as a guest on a show, I have coming in halfway through the show, being invited is a little weird. I've had no time to prepare anything, so forgive me if,
Okay. Well, it's pretty cut and dry. I don't think you need to do weeks of research to figure out your comment was basically non sequitur.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you could show where my research support was 9th grade, we want to start with the University of Rochester Physics Labs. Is the University of Rochester Physics Labs 9th grade?
It is if you.
It is.
If you rigidly stick to just the definition and assume that reality is not more
It is.
complicated than
No.
can fit into a small paragraph.
This is a yes or no question. You said it is. So can you please explain to everyone in the audience and here in Discord how the University of Rochester is 9th grade?
I just did.
Oh, you just said. I don't know. That's non sequitur. That doesn't have any relation to 9th grade.
It's ninth grade if they expect everyone to obey literally just that little thing.
That little
And
thing.
Don't take reality to be a little more complicated than can fit into.
Don't
a
take
single-
reality. We're talking about natural science. What do you mean reality?
We're talking about a couple sentence definitions. What we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about the scientific method and natural science. Focus for us now. Not reality, even though it's part of reality, but not all of reality. You got to get hyper specific. You said that I will be giving a 9th grade rendition of natural science and the scientific method. So I went through a number of universities: Colorado State, the University of North Carolina, University of Rochester. Are those 9th grade, sir?
Your understanding of it is.
My understanding. So you know what I understand? Really? Do you have special Evo mind powers? Let's test your friggin' divining acumen of my thoughts. What's my favorite color?
I don't care.
We don't care what you care. We care that you
don't care what you
provide.
care, so.
What is my favorite color?
I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, you can't divine my thoughts then.
And
Well, you just made the claim that you could, that you knew how to do that.
if you took that claim as me knowing your mind or whatever,
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, you don't. You haven't been telling us too much of nothing here so far. So your claim.
You haven't given me anything, so.
I have. You made a claim. Oh, you pretended. I don't know if you've been keeping up on friggin' current events. Yeah. I just exposed you. You can't support your claim.
It's my claim that your presentation is about a 9th grade level. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Really? So the University of Rochester that I support this presentation with, among others, Colorado State, North Carolina, as I already mentioned, is 9th grade.
I already explained that.
Yeah, you did. It was a deep explanation too. Right on point. Right on point with everything. It's good. Can you give us a 12th grade rendition? Give us the 12th grade rendition of a scientific hypothesis right now.
No, I've had no time to prepare.
Prepare?
Literally nothing here.
Stop. Hold on.
I haven't typed up anything. I haven't made sure that I get all my, I's dotted, T's crossed. No, I'm not going to do any of that.
Hold on, Chocolate, and hold on, QE. Just a quick question. So, your critique of him is that his presentation on science will be of a 9th grade level. But when asked what a hypothesis is, you feel that you need to go away and research. To me, that indicates quite directly that you're critiquing him based on something that you've got absolutely no clue about. Claim that he's disseminating the information in a 9th grade manner, or that his understanding is of a 9th grade level. Because you don't understand it. You've just said that you need to go away and research to answer the question, what's a hypothesis? Are you serious? You've got no reason to critique him at all.
No, I think you make a valid point, except that I disagree entirely.
Yeah,
what's a hypothesis?
You can't be serious, man.
Chocolate, hold on. So, in order for you to critique him on his understanding of science, which is what you said, then you would have to have a superior understanding to critique him in that regard. Now, if you're incapable of answering the question that QE has just put to you, which is define a hypothesis, and your answer was, I need to go away and research, I've got nothing in front of me, then you are a complete clown and have absolutely no
because
right.
I can't just regurgitate all this stuff from memory.
Up, clown. I can regurgitate what a hypothesis is from memory without any difficulty at all.
You've been working on it for hundreds of shows. No wonder you can.
Yeah,
I haven't done that.
So the point is, you who cannot and do not understand what it is and would need to go away research it, are critiquing.
No, you're asking me to make a presentation about a topic that I have not prepared for. That doesn't mean I understand less about it. That means I'm not prepared to make a presentation about it. That's it.
It does mean that. It does mean that you don't understand it. That's precisely what my point is.
You guys have hundreds of shows under your belt of arguing with people. Like I don't have any of that stuff. So I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to make a presentation.
That's right. So therefore, QE knows better than you. So when you critique him for disseminating the information in a 9th grade manner, you're in no position to do so. You don't know what you're talking about. And saying, well, you would know better. You've done loads of shows on it. Yeah, we would. Don't critique him. You don't know any better. In fact, you know nothing about what even a hypothesis is. It's absurd that you should critique him at all.
Done?
Pointing out the absurdity of you critiquing him when you know absolutely nothing.
That's absurd. That's fine. I don't care.
You didn't even know how to define a hypothesis. You've got no reason to critique him. Go away and research what this stuff is. And then when you understand it, decide whether or not his dissemination of what you yet have found out the meanings of is disseminated well or not, because you're in no position to critique it. You don't even know what it means. How dare you critique him on this stuff? Wally, you just embarrassed yourself. You're critiquing somebody on something. You're like the guy who stands over the mechanic and says, are you sure you know what you're doing when you poke at that? And the guy turns around and he says, well, what is it that I'm poking at? You go, well, I don't know, but you'd obviously know. You've been under cars for years. I'm going to tell you you're doing a crap job of it. 9th grade mechanicry. And you don't even know what the guy's pointing his screwdriver at. That's what you're doing.
No, I'm this guy who finished his fucking sandwich, got pulled in here under threat of a
Watch Steph bombs there, sunshine.
And all that. That's what this is.
And rightly so. You've had a strip torn off you for being an arrogant prick, telling him he's going to disseminate
I'm an arrogant prick. Oh my God. Listen to you.
You don't understand. He's going to now disseminate into yelling and ad homming and talking through people who know better than he does. They're less ignorant than he is.
This was a really great discussion until this guy came in and started ad homming like a numpty.
Nathan, that was a great analogy.
Forget the ad homs for a second. Just listen to what Nathan's just said. This gentleman has set a bar, and he said this is at a certain level. When asked to qualify the level it's at. He said, "Oh, my education's not up to that level of discernment."
That's not what
So
I said.
consequently, he's not able to discern at what level it's at, as the question is being asked. Whether he's prepared for it or not, to make the criticism requires you to have the knowledge to be able to defend it. Unless, of course, you didn't have the knowledge when you made the criticism. You were just
No,
hoping you were correct.
defending a criticism is different from knowing about the topic and knowing everything about it.
What?
No,
Need
sir.
to know about
No,
it to
sir.
criticize it. That's the point. You can't criticize a mechanic's work if you haven't got the slightest idea what he's doing.
So, you guys will mute me again?
You can't criticize a mechanic's work while he's turning the screwdriver if you literally don't know what a screwdriver is.
Great analogy.
So you're the guy standing over the guy under the hood of your car going, are you holding that whiz bang correctly? Whiz bang being a screwdriver that you've never seen before and don't know what it is or how it works. But you're
Yeah,
querying.
that's not a correct analogy at all.
Really? If I said
really-
to you, if A, then B or C, is that a valid hypothesis?
I don't care.
You don't know.
I said I don't
You're telling
care.
him he's disseminating this stuff at a 9th grade level. You don't know the answer, do you? How do you
Because
know?
I
So
haven't
if I
made a-
say
because I
that,
haven't made a whole
if I
presentation about
say it-
why.
wait, excuse me. If I say that, you wouldn't know whether I've disseminated it correctly, incorrectly, at a 5th grade level, at a 9th grade level. You wouldn't have a clue whether I've disseminated it well, badly, or indifferently because you don't know if it's correct or not. So
No.
for you to then turn around and tell me after I disseminate that information, if A, then B or C, whether or not
No.
that's a valid hypothesis, you couldn't tell me if that's disseminated at any level.
Now, the
You're
only issue
critiquing
here,
QE on
the
this
only
stuff.
issue here is that I am not experienced in debating with people. That's it.
Yes, that's correct. The only problem here is you're debating with people and you're a complete idiot who doesn't know how to debate people and are wrong often in your assertions. That's right. Your problem is you're ignorant. That's correct.
About debate, sure.
About anything. You don't know what a hypothesis is and you've critiqued the
Anything?
host
You
of
don't
the
know me at
show.
all.
I know you don't know what a hypothesis is.
Why?
Yeah, so you don't know what a
Because
hypothesis. That's what this show is about, you complete clown.
About me coming on and presenting with a hypothesis,
Bro,
I don't need to do that.
are you
That's
serious?
what we're talking about. Yeah. Did you not listen earlier in the show when giving birth to science in that vernacular? That's what was detailed by QE. Giving birth to it was hypotheses. You don't think that?
I was invited onto this thing halfway through.
Don't
You can't
think
expect me
that's
to know what y'all were talking about.
About hypotheses, the thing you don't
Oh,
know,
about the
that's
show.
the very essence of science. You're telling me he's communicating it at the wrong level, but you don't know the essence of science, which is hypothesis. You'd have to
Why is
go
that?
and look it up.
Hold up. So you told QE he has a 9th grade level of this. Dude, you told QE he's got a 9th grade level knowledge of this stuff, but you just said you don't know any of this stuff.
I didn't say I didn't know it.
Yeah,
It's a
you did.
hypothesis.
No, I didn't.
Okay. 5th grade would be understanding hypothesis. It was explained on this show that you only paid 50% attention to. So you'd have the answer to this question and wouldn't be looking
50%
stupid.
attention. I wasn't here.
Shut up.
There's no paying attention if
Hello,
you're not
ignorant
here.
person talking through somebody trying to educate him. You've already disclaimed you don't know what a hypothesis is. We know that's
didn't.
factually accurate. I'm
Oh,
explaining
you're just
that.
fucking lying.
What's a hypothesis?
Look it up. I'm not gonna
I
go
already
and get these
know.
definitions for you.
Okay, you want me to define it for it? A hypothesis would be the establishment.
You guys invited me on the
cause
show to
and
yell
talk
over
straight
me
to
and
me.
make
That's
fun of
easy
me.
to
Okay,
define it.
that's the only
It's
reason I'm here.
rumping me.
Okay?
Stop
The
rumpusing.
ignorant will remain forever ignorant. I will forever disseminate more rumpusing when someone's trying to interrupt me. I know what a hypothesis is. It's the establishment of cause of a naturally occurring phenomena. That's what it is. It's if A, then B, or if A, not B. That's an alternative and a null hypothesis in logical consistency. That's what it is. I know what it is. I wouldn't even dare challenge QE based on his level of discernment of this And understanding if A then B or if A not B is 5th grade. You don't even understand this at a 5th grade level. Yet you're telling him he's
You
not
have no idea what I
disseminating
understand or not.
called 9th grade. As you interrupt me again, understanding what a hypothesis is 5th grade. You understand me, shit for brains.
Do I understand you? I'm hearing you. I don't think I understand much of what you're saying because you're not saying much of
You
anything.
don't know what
like a
hypothesis
clown.
is. I asked you what it was. You said, well, you tell me. I did. I bet you couldn't even repeat it if you tried. Give me the logical form for a hypothesis. I said it 15 seconds ago for audience members just to see how sharp this guy is.
No. I'm not playing a game.
Not playing a game would be listen and repeat.
I'm not here to debate. I don't know why you guys think I'm here. I was invited under threat of a ban from the fucking Discord server.
Demonstrating my point as I make it. As I make my point, he can't even listen and repeat. He's criticizing QE for not disseminating information that he does understand at a 9th grade level. You can't even listen and repeat yet, mate.
I can. I just don't want to.
Okay, what was the hypothesis? I conformed it in structural form.
I don't care. I'm not listening to you. I don't care what you're saying.
I'm saying you can't even listen and repeat. Shut up, Arwin.
He's not listening.
Arwin, everybody else, please, can you mute?
Listening.
Arwin, second time. I asked you if you could listen and repeat. My claim is that you are incapable of even listening and repeating. And 60 seconds ago, I defined at your request what a hypothesis was. And based on my saying factually, you're thick and can't even listen and repeat, let alone know what 5th grade hypothesis is, you will be incapable of repeating a hypothesis construction, having been asked for it and given it about 60 seconds ago. See if you can repeat it. Go. Echo.
No, I'm not playing your game.
So you can't even listen and repeat. You're a complete moron and you deserve a strip torn off you, which is what's happening.
You're an idiot.
Nonsense. Just chant through me. I know what a hypothesis is, thicko. You're in no position to criticize QE. How dare you?
Of course I am.
Really? What's a hypothesis, thicko?
Look it up.
Given it 2 minutes ago by me.
I'm not here to debate. So
you asked me what it was, didn't you?
I don't know. Did I?
Yes, you did. Then I told you. Okay. Yeah, and you still don't know.
Then why are you asking me?
Thick.
I don't know what's your problem. I've told you I'm not here to debate.
Wow,
and you keep trying to debate with me. So
that's my problem. You don't know what my problem is, so I'm telling you. My problem is somebody who's thick, like generally shit for brains, that standard, that can't even listen and repeat, doesn't understand 5th grade science, and talks to someone when they tear a strip off them. Yet that person who's mentally stupid, can't listen, demonstrate it continually, so it has to be repeated to him, is criticizing somebody who's obviously intellectually superior to him. That would be Quantum Eraser. He's not at a 9th grade level, mate. You, on the other hand, aren't even at a 5th grade level.
Why?
That would be understanding a hypothesis.
Because I refuse to play your game? Is that why?
Because you can't even understand what a hypothesis that is 5th grade science.
Why would you think I can't understand it? Because I refuse.
You can't even repeat it when it was given to you 2 minutes ago.
That's because I refuse to, not because I can't.
You're just avoiding the questions constantly.
I know I'm avoiding the question. No shit. You got
is this the best argument that you have?
Okay, Dumbo.
You already admitted you were
I'm not here to debate. What are you guys missing about this? Why are you fucking
You're not
stupid?
listening. Right. You're just a belligerent child.
Hey, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hey, hold on a second, Nathan. Hey, Draketh, stop.
The problem is that we're dealing with thickos like you on an almost daily basis who come along and tell us that your information's at a 9th grade level. And then when we test their informational understanding, it's at a less than 5th grade level. Not reasonable. That's our problem.
Hey, Draketh, stop with the F-bomb. Draketh!
Based on
Draketh!
the fact that I didn't
I'm
say
gonna have to mute you. Draketh.
Based on the fact that a hypothesis construction would be something that would be taught to you and everybody else, me included, at 5th grade level. You forgot. Presumably were scribbling little moustaches on sperms on page 37 while the teacher talked to you and you didn't listen. Like you're not listening half the time now.
Radio check. Radio check. Radio check. I'm back.
Everyone knows I just got muted again.
Radio check. I muted you to tell you something because I'm. Hey,
listen to us
hello.
Tear a strip off you for being stupid.
Nathan.
Telling somebody far more smart than you that they don't understand and aren't communicating it well enough. When challenged to understand even the very basics of what's being disseminated here, you don't understand them. Yet you feel so arrogant as to challenge it. It's an absolute outrage and the kind of crap we deal with daily. And you're worth holding up as an example, worth tearing a strip off publicly for a live audience to listen to. They can all tut at you and go, oh yeah, typical retard. Thinks he knows better. Dunning-Kruger doesn't know how stupid he actually is.
Hey, sir. Nathan, can you hear me? Hey, radio check. Can anyone hear me in the Hangout?
Nathan, can you hear QE?
I can hear you, QE. Nathan, can you hear
Oh, I
us?
can't hear QE.
Go ahead and drop out and come back in again,
reload.
Nathan.
I can't hear QE talking.
Yeah, drop out because he's trying to talk.
So, Dracketh, I put you on mute to tell you to stop with the F-bombs. All right? I don't want to get the show shadowed because of F-bombs, okay? So just, if you're going to talk, don't use the F-bombs. Thank you. Radio check. Is Nathan back?
Yeah, I'm back now. All right, I lost you. I couldn't hear you. So if I was talking straight through you, my bad.
No, that's not a problem. We're good now. I just told Dracketh I put him on mute just for a couple seconds there because he was dropping F-bombs. I just don't want that on the show.
Did my rank come through more? That's it. We just want to tear a strip off you because you represent every other asshole out there telling us that we don't understand.
I don't understand what you're doing here. Why did you come here if you're not having a debate? If you're just not going to present what you know, just tell us to Google it and all that. What are you doing here?
On the show right now?
Yeah, right now.
Because I was threatened with a ban if I didn't, basically.
Yeah, because you made a claim. Right?
What?
Yeah, because he made a claim. And
apparently, I made a claim, and then I had to come on the show, or I was banned.
Yep.
Something like that, at least.
Now you're not banned. Yep. We wanted to raise you up from chat skanking level so you could come out here and embarrass yourself. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, I was eating a sandwich, playing a video game in the background.
And you've done that beautifully.
I gotta come present a whole bunch of stuff to a whole bunch of people that are obviously hostile.
Oh, at least you can.
Actually, you didn't. Actually, you didn't. You didn't have to present a whole bunch of stuff. You were just asked a simple definition for hypothesis, and you couldn't give that though. See, that would have been your chance to show that you have a higher than 9th grade level understanding of this shit, but you didn't. You actually made yourself sound worse, like a 2-year-old. Nah, I don't want to do it. Nah, look it up. Yeah, that's what you sound like. Right? So I don't know if that makes you feel better, like if that's cool, if that's the level of argument that you have, but that's ridiculous. Sorry.
You can believe that. It's fine. I already explained that I was not prepared for any of this, and I was threatened on the ban to come to the show. So,
Only child, by any chance? Only child?
Sorry, what?
Only child, by any chance?
I am not. I have several sisters.
Several sisters.
Oh, I think. No, go ahead, Chocolate. Go ahead. I rumpushed you.
Nah, I'm just trying to understand, like, what the purpose of all of this was. Like, you made a claim that he's got a 9th level understanding. That would make everybody that reads that claim think that you have a higher level. So when given an opportunity to show that you have a higher level, I don't understand why you would not.
Because I would like to present my information in a way that is as accurate as I can make it, and I can't do that if I'm just blindsided to come onto a show like this.
You can't do that off the fly, though. Isn't your level of understanding higher than 9th grade? Why can't you do that off the fly?
I can't do that about anything that I know, so I'm just not good at verbally presenting information like that. Sorry.
Like QE does, and you were criticizing.
Not present.
I mean, you don't need a full presentation if someone just asks you what's the definition of a hypothesis. You don't need a full presentation for that. You don't need to prepare and take notes. If you know it, you know it, right?
No, because knowing something
No?
does not mean you know the literal definition of every.
If you know something, you don't know it. I don't get it.
I just said
I don't know what
literally. Knowing something doesn't mean you know the literal definition of it.
Be able to verbally get it out when people are asking you about it in whatever exact way you want to make it or whatever.
Yeah, but you would think anybody, again, reading your claim, anybody reading that would think that you already have that knowledge at the ready, right?
I don't know why.
Like why? Because you made you made the claim. Sorry.
You're criticizing it. That's why. Because you're criticizing it. Why the hell do you think we'd expect you to have a good understanding? You're the one being critical of it. No, not sinking in.
I don't know what to say. I've already explained several times the issue here. Okay, you guys are taking that to mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Which,
fair enough.
Okay, whatever. That's y'all's decision. Whatever.
Saying you wouldn't be expected to know the literal definitions of stuff and stuff, right? Yeah, fair enough. Right. So if I went through an increasingly complicated list of things for you to define, should we see where that list ends? I said define a car. Would you do that?
Sure, but it wouldn't be whatever's in the dictionary.
Why not?
But what I'm saying is the thing on four wheels that goes down the road. You're not going to find that in the dictionary. It's going to be something else.
Oh, okay. Hypothesis.
Hypothesis?
The thing you criticized QE not being able to disseminate even beyond the 9th grade level, maybe that.
What?
Bruh.
You want me to start the final stuff? I'm sorry, I'm not going to. I've already told you.
You're not going to give us a similar like four-wheeled thing that moves down the road? You couldn't do that for hypothesis? Just a vague explanation of what it is? No?
Go for second grade level. Second grade. See if you can muster that one up.
So, are you gonna make any stand for your intellectual integrity, or are you just gonna settle for being a complete numpty?
I am going to You done?
Look, man, nobody's trying to catch you out, man. You kind of just snatched your own wig off with this whole thing, because had you not made the claim that you in no way, shape, or form can substantiate, nobody be even talking to you right now. So you've kind of done this to yourself. Playing the victim is kind of silly at this point. So sorry about you and all that.
I'm not.
So is that all you got, Drac? That was a lot of fun. Appreciate for coming in. I will not ban you because you were man enough at least to come in. So you're good.
Oh, definitely. On the plus side, you took your chastisement well. Good on you. You came in. You took your licks. Kudos.
Fair enough.
Now go claim victory like all the others.
You're still a numpty, but you established that, so thank you.
Glad I could be of service.
Come back when you're ready, though. We'll be here.
And by the way, you said you weren't here for a good part of the presentation. You were definitely sitting in here when I went over what a hypothesis was.
There was a lot of stuff going on, man.
Oh, all right.
I think it was dealing with my mic.
Sandwich. Had a lot of important stuff going on. He's got a lot going on.
One final question, and I did respond to you earlier today. It went something like this. So my understanding and my presentation style was 9th grade. I asked you if terms and phrases change their meanings depending on your station in life, whether you're 3rd grade, 5th grade, 7th grade, 12th grade, or university. Do those things change their definitions?
You ask me now, or are you saying we went over that earlier?
No, I responded to you in text with that response. That was the second response after I said, get your ass in on the voice channel?
Oops, I don't remember that. Hold on.
Yep.
Do a plug.
Yeah, go ahead, do a plug before he gets back.
I couldn't make up my mind what time would be most appropriate. I want a third scheduled show, and I've tried it at various different times. I just can't make up my mind what time to settle on. But what I thought I'd do is a 24-hour block and just see which one does best. So that's what I've done. So I've set out 24 hours of flat Earth debate, which starts midnight tonight, just after it. It'll start about 1:15. You know what time the show would end. I said.
All right. Specifically, I said, thanks, Nathan. Specifically, I said, P.S., why would a 9th grade science book's definition of natural science and the scientific method be any different from a 3rd grade, 5th grade, 7th grade, 12th grade, university level definition? Por favor. I said, do words and phrases change their friggin' meanings based on your station in life, you utterly clueless pretender clown muppet? That's exactly what I said. Then I said, good Lord, shaking my friggin' head. In total, that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. So, but is that what you're at? Is that what you want me to answer right now?
Yeah.
Kind of are, though.
Do words change their meaning based on our station in life?
Yeah, words and phrases like natural science and the scientific method, would they change from 3rd grade to university level? Good question.
I don't even care, man.
It's a good damn question. That's what you implied with your statement, though, with your claim.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'll explain this. I'll explain this. One sec, hold on. A 3rd grader's definition of science will obviously be different than a 12th grader's.
Definition of natural science. Really? How so?
Because 3rd graders don't understand as much as a 12th grader.
That's it's not their definition, it's defined for them.
Which means it's their definition.
A 3rd grade definition of natural science, you mean 3rd grader can't understand natural science?
Not in the extent and way that an older person would.
Oh, really?
What? It's a method. They might know more applications, but the method remains the same.
You guys can think what you want.
So, natural science. So, you're saying a 3rd grader wouldn't understand this. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and the behavior of physical and natural world through observation and experiment.
Would a 3rd grader understand that? No, not at all.
No, really?
What you just, they don't know the meaning of the words you just said.
Oh, I would think that they'd have a pretty good grasp if they could fog a mirror. I bet they could get it. So, okay, what about a 7th grader? Natural science, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment.
Would a 7th grader understand that?
Yeah.
Some might. Most probably wouldn't.
Most wouldn't understand that. Prosecution rests.
With the most that don't understand that, would that negate the fact that the ones that do understand that understand it?
40% of the time, 100% of them understand it.
Sounds like a plea of
I mean,
I'm not sure what you're trying to get at.
saying that they wouldn't understand it doesn't change the fact that the word means what it means. Just because you don't understand the word doesn't mean what it means, right?
Right. Exactly. Chocolate. You got it. Thank you.
Right. Very early on in school, they might have to learn it. They might not understand it, but they know how to learn it, memorize it, and get the test right. And then later in life, then they might get a better grasp on what it actually is instead of just the memorization of it. And then they really understand it, right? But the method is always the same, whether you understand it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't change, does it? Does the scientific method change when you get to university?
What is your point? Like, what is it?
Because that's what you're saying. you're implicitly, that's what you're saying, that the phrases would change. If I'm teaching at a 9th grade level, then it would have to have a different meaning, a more complex meaning, the higher you got in academia.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're saying, yes, it does change.
However you want to put it.
However I want to put it.
Okay, I just got one last question. If it's had enough, we're labouring the point of this. If I'm honest, but
Yeah.
last question. If you were to summarise, given that your critique was his dissemination of science at a 9th grade level, how would you, in a nutshell, take as long as you like, summarise what science actually is? Natural science.
How would I summarize what natural science is?
Yep.
No idea. I don't.
Oh my God.
Bro.
Prosecution rests. Thank you.
Okay.
This is not looking good.
No. Oh, it is looking good. Just depends on
That's fine.
what position you're in.
If because I can't define natural science and all that, you know.
Well, why don't you go get your girlfriend on here, since she's a scientist, according to you, right?
Mhm.
What's his name?
No need. No need.
Nathan, I think.
No need.
Sexy guy, huh? Sexy guy.
Hey, it looks similar to you.
Very sexy guy.
So, I'll tell you what, not next week, but 2 weeks from now, we're going to get dead into it, right? Hypotheses, what make up hypotheses, and experiments and stuff. Why don't you bring your girlfriend? You don't have to bring her on here, but she could be like your backup and like feed you the answers, and we'll see how much of a scientist she is. How about that?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Why not?
Because I don't want. Because I don't want to. That's why.
Because I don't want to. I'll be on my best behavior. I promise you.
Your real girlfriend.
That's all right. I just wanted to make a point about chat skanking, because you were chat skanking pretty heavy with your buddy in arms. What was his name again? Mike the Ox's ass or something? Oxlong or something. What the heck? Yeah, Mike Oxlong. He hasn't showed up. He better, if you get a chance to talk to him, because he might have missed my message, please have him come back 2 weeks from now on the next Ballbusters, or he's going to get his ass banned. Draken? You're good, though, Draken.
You have your messenger. You don't have to do anything. That's not your responsibility. And I will give you props again for taking the licks that you took. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty as well.
Well, you guys have a wonderful evening.
You too.
You too, brother.
All right, Nathan, we're going to wrap this thing up. Let's go down through final thoughts. Any questions or concerns? You want to do that? I'll take over. I can unmute them and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Flatbread.
Yeah. All right. First, is that number one, flatbread? You're unmuted. Questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Outstanding. Thanks for coming.
Apple, how you doing? You hear us? Check, check, check. Hopefully QE's hustling you off mute as we speak. No. Owen, do you want to plug your channel?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm going back live on YouTube again tomorrow, if everything goes all right. I might be a little bit late. It depends on when they're gonna unlock the live streaming capability again. But yeah, Arwin, ARWIJN. That's my channel. I have an everyday show, 1 p.m. Amsterdam, 10 p.m. Amsterdam time and weekend. And I interact with chat a lot. So yeah, come and look me up. It's a bit early if you're in the United States, but Europe and the rest of the world, it's pretty much a good time. Hope to see you there. And yeah, Kiwi, great show. It's really great to be back on Ballbusters. I love the energy, and yeah, it's been very informative.
Cool. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Chocolate, anything to add before we round out?
Man, this was it was good to be back. Ballbusters. It's a good show. I always love talking about this stuff. And yeah, man. See you next time.
Sweet. Thanks, John.
Eli. I haven't heard anything from Eli the whole show, I don't think.
I just took him off mute. That's probably why.
Oh, is it my turn?
No, not yet, Matthias. We're on Eli. Sorry about that, Eli. We I guess you're not off mute when you come in here. We'll have to fix that.
Yeah. Oh, hey guys.
Hey, guys.
Awesome show. I didn't catch it all, but I'm glad you're back. And I'll be around. Love you guys.
All right, sir.
Hey, Matthias, how you doing? Any questions, comments?
It's Matthias for one. I was on the show yesterday, I do believe, and I think it was kind of odd that that you made that video, and I'm actually glad you made the video because it pointed out where you kind of lied about saying sea level first. But,
oh, brother.
But you wanted yesterday you declared I didn't know what a straw man was, even though I didn't parrot word for word what Google says it was. And today this guy, Dracus, said you guys didn't know what a hypothesis was, but yet you wanted him to tell you what a hypothesis was. But whenever I asked Nathan on the show yesterday, well, since you declared that I didn't know what a straw man was, tell me. And he just denied. He says, I didn't make the claim. La da 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 da. I just thought that was kind of hypocritical.
Okay, thank you very much.
And also, I was going to plug my channel, Matthias the Walking Witness. I have Flat Earth on there. I have own demonstrations. I also have other conspiracy deals like Sol Invictus. How people are brainwashed since birth to be programmed with bullshit and idolize a fake currency and whatnot. Feel free to go check it out if you want, if you're into that sort of stuff. Thanks.
Oh, I didn't know you made content. I will definitely check that out. Can you shout your name again for people who are watching?
Yeah, Matthias the Walking Witness. I've been making videos for like 2 or 3 years now. And for you guys, like yesterday, every time I come on the show and question flat Earth, the flat Earth narratives, everybody accuses me of being a fucking sorry about the F-bomb, accuses me of being a baltard whenever I've been a flat earther for like 8 years now.
I think you're right. I think you come out with some of the most absurd things ever. It's
I
love it.
Well, to be honest, like a week ago, I was on a show questioning the Sexton argument, and I just came across a video of you, Nathan. I think he was explaining to Kosho, and your direct words were, I think he was, an angle to what was your, you guys was talking about, you wasn't really talking about the Sexton at the time. You was talking about angles, how you derive angles on a flat Earth compared to the globe Earth, and you said an angle to what? So,
actually, I'd have been saying an angle to what, because for him, it's an angle to a tangent point. That'd be Earth curve.
An angle to a non-physical horizon.
Precisely.
Which is a non-geometric.
Right. Yep. You got it.
So how are you going to get an angle that was my whole point. Like last week or whenever it was, like a week or two ago. How are you going to derive an angle from non-physical point?
That's what it's used for. I mean, if you're talking about how the horizon functions or why the horizon is what it is, I don't know that. What I do know is you can use it to level your tool with. It's just ipso facto what it can be used to do.
Right. Yeah, I've came to the conclusion since I went on the show, a week or two, that I was kind of in the fault there.
No, it's good. Don't apologize. As I said, I really like you. I think you're ace. Some
Like
of the things
ace.
you came out with, tapping your sea sucker, made me chuckle like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was laughing at that too. And by the way, Matthias, if you go to that video, I put a comment in there describing sea level. You were sort of mistaken on, saying that, yeah, it's in relation to where you're standing. It's not, unless you're standing adjacent to sea level. That's what it's measured as.
Don't change. Be what you are. You are what you are. You're bullshit. You're emphatic. You're assertive in what you think you know, and that's a good way to be, as far as I'm concerned. Balls to the wall. Just pull out. That's great. I love it. Don't change.
I'm just saying, do you think that I'm ace because it gives you money to help pay for your speakers, or what?
Well, that too. I also think that's good too. You're very entertaining, and my show has to keep my audience entertained. So from that perspective, if you want me to be ruthlessly honest, yeah, I do. But I don't mean it in that way when I said it a moment ago. No, what I mean is somebody being emphatic and being combative and challenging of what we say. That's what it's all about. I commend you in the same way the guy that came on earlier. I commend him. You're not as wrong as him. I'm not comparing you for that reason. I'm just saying the fact that you're like, no, I want to know why you're right, and even if I'm not necessarily right in how I challenge you for being wrong, I'm going to do so. So you are drawing out an explanation from us. That's to be commended. It doesn't really matter if you're right or wrong. In fact, the following day I'll probably forget. Half the time, the reason the panel say this is the guy from last month who said about blah blah blah. It's because I don't know. I can't remember. I'm very fickle in that regard.
I remember.
You see, I don't.
But yeah, I am very passionate about my studies and my conclusions that I have drawn from the research that I have done. Whenever I was first in flat Earth, that's pretty much all I did was eat, sleep, drink, and flat Earth. And that was, that it was like that for years. I mean, it was so fucking and so addictive.
This isn't.
This isn't the. Hold on a second, guys. This isn't the venue for that, because the question was questions, comments, concerns. We're trying to round out, not your autobiography. I don't mean to be rude, mate. That maybe we can have another show. Matthias, the walking what?
Matthias, the Walking Witness. For those in Discord, it's the link to my channel's in my profile. For those on YouTube, you just type in MATHIEUS, the Walking Witness. My first name's kind of hard to spell. Most people confuse it. It's even on Google. It shows up the first thing on Google. So there you go. Thank you.
I think we got it.
In the Life of Brian, isn't it, Matthias? I'll remember it from that anyway.
Wait, what?
It's I was being facetious. It's a biblical name. Nathan's a biblical name, but when I said Matthias, it's in Life of Brian. I said it because I was banned in a Christian upbringing of watching Life of Brian. It was blasphemous. You can't watch that. So obviously I did. So when I reference biblical names, I like to tie them back where possible to Life of Brian to offend Christians in a nice way.
Right. Well, my Matthias is usually spelled MATHIAS, but it's different. That's probably what's going to confuse a lot of people.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. It's getting annoyed.
Yeah, I am. What's your favorite color?
Matt. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
In the mute button.
Sorry. Yeah, I got to get him. Sorry about that, Matt.
Matt, can you hear us?
Yeah, okay. Hi guys, good show today. I love the scientific method. Empirical knowledge is freaking awesome. I'd love to see, like, maybe in the future, if we could walk through the double slit experiment and the quantum eraser experiments, because I'm having a hard time understanding how the natural phenomenon is not like conjured in the experiment, and that's
Matt, I already did this. Go to either my channel, any video that I ever made, or Nathan's channel, then hit show more in the description box, and then scroll right down and you'll see the double slit and quantum eraser explained, and then review that whole thing, and it answers all your questions.
Let me just answer
I
a
will
specific
do.
question. He asked one specific question which can be answered in about 30 seconds, so I might as well.
Okay.
He said, how is the phenomena in the double slit not conjured in the apparatus, right? That's your question, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Do you know what the phenomena is, first of all? What is the
Well,
phenomena?
the fraction of light, but I'm confused because is it the diffraction in late in nature, or is it a wave function collapse?
Wave function collapse.
So yeah, so where do I view that in nature?
But
do you view wave function collapse in nature?
Yeah.
Any time that light isn't diffracting.
I'm gonna view the show more at on any of you guys' videos, and then I'll try to absorb as much as I can.
Fair enough.
Good show.
Thanks.
We will cover it again. It's not an easy subject. When it comes to light, it's not necessarily the case, and I appreciate your question because I had the same question. No, what you're sort of striving at, I think I'm going to read between the lines. Did somebody stumble across some diffracting light? Go, holy shit, that just collapsed. Did that ever happen? No, is the answer to that. But in terms of why that wasn't occurring in nature in the way that you might think, it's because the study of light has come a long way in terms of its scientific validity. And each time they study something, you can still go out and observe that happening in nature. It's not to say that because they're one step further along in the discoveries of how light behaves, that you don't have a naturally occurring phenomena to observe, and they've taken it to what light does in nature naturally, and then studying it. So yeah, I understand the query. Nobody's stumbling over a rock and then watching wave function collapse, i.e. diffracting light forming two bars when it passes through a couple of leaves in some trees, because suddenly you figured out which slit it went through in the gaps in the trees. You know what I mean? I get it.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll cover it. I'm sure we'll cover double slit and quantum eraser again. I think it's important as well because it does underpin the fabric of our reality and leads you to God. You can't really understress the importance of those experiments in many ways, and they are worth covering again. So yeah, good job bringing it up. Neil, how you doing?
What? Can you hear me?
Yes, Neil. It's all clear, loud and clear.
Is the equipment used in a double slit man-made?
And that wasn't. Don't misrepresent what he asked, because his question was far more nuanced than that.
No, I'm not talking about him. There was another guy the other day. Kiwi knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're getting confused. They don't understand that the natural phenomena is the dependent variable, not the things that you use in the experiment. Of course, every experiment is going to have man-made stuff in it. That's non sequitur to the actual argument, but they're a little bit confused out there.
Anyway, glad to be back. Excellent show.
Thank
Keep
you.
them coming.
Yeah, they'll be continue to come. Thank you.
I'm going to butcher this, aren't I? Kirill, if I've said your name correctly. How you doing? You hear us? Nope. moving on. Adam, anything you need to plug if you're still here?
Literally, I don't know whether it's pertinent. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah.
I've literally just walked back in. Good timing. I don't think it's pertinent, but I'm going to test about boiling of water. I'm going to use a pan to put the water in. Does that invalidate my experiment? Because I have to make the pan to put the water
in. You can definitely observe in nature water boiling. Manufacturing the apparatus to contain some water so you can boil it artificially cause the effect of the boiling itself isn't really any invalidation of the naturally occurring phenomena that is boiling water. So I don't know if that's a yes or a no, really.
The wit of man is required to set up the experiment, to isolate, to ensure that the experiment is testing independent against the dependent, So it requires the wit of man to do that. And the purpose of the experiment is to make sure that that's what the experiment does. However he does it, if the experiment induces its own effect, it invalidates it.
It's part of the method includes the word systematic, which was stressed right at the beginning of the show during the presentation by QE. I think he said something like, I wonder why that's in there. Well, once you've got a valid hypothesis, that is to say, a supposition yet to be validated, an experiment hasn't been performed, you've just got a viable hypothesis. The point that that is systematically, experimentally proven, then all the person who's performing the experiment does is actualize the hypothesis. And it doesn't matter what apparatus or means they actualize the hypothesis with. In other words, one person, when on this journey of systematic experimentation, might see the hypothesis if A then B, and create a really elaborate and crazy apparatus simply to vary A to see if it causes B. Whereas next man might see the same hypothesis if A then B, and make a really crude apparatus simply to vary A and see if it causes B. And it's so long as both get the same outcome, which is A causes B, i.e. they both validate the alternative hypothesis in this regard, it matters not what the apparatus is. Who cares? It doesn't matter. As long as A gets varied and B gets caused, that's all that matters.
What I might do in a systematic way is to try not only boiling the water in a pot, boiling it in Pyrex, maybe even go as far as boiling it in a coconut and checking it's boiling at the same temperature, at the same air pressure, systematically.
I'm going to systematically put you guys on mute if you don't end this show.
Hammer, how you doing, Hammer? Good. You only got 2 more guests. The Hammer.
Hold on a second, I'll get him. Yep, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good show. I'll keep it real short. I was born July 27th. I'm just kidding. Good show, guys.
Oh, man. Yeah. Touche, Hammer.
Don't be
just
rushed.
getting into
I've
that.
actually got something to ask. Did you?
Nathan, he is being facetious, man.
I don't know, but he might actually have something to ask. But you were in a phrasing that make him feel rushed and not ask something he had.
Oh no! I didn't even catch enough of the show.
What?
Thanks. I caught.
I wasn't even listening. I don't even care.
I was listening. I caught some of it, but I came in late. I think a little bit because it was like towards the end and when he started calling you guys 9th graders and stuff like that. So.
Oh, that was the good part.
All right, so I didn't miss the good part at least.
Cool.
But thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pleasure. I'm glad of him. It lets me let off steam because he typifies how people perceive us, and in their arrogance, because they're giving it a cursory glance whilst playing a computer game and eating a sandwich. There's those stupid flat earthers. I'll tell them how stupid they are. When they get held to task, suddenly feel a bit embarrassed, or at least I would hope they do. Maybe they don't. Odd
I guess.
waddle.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, Hammer, go on.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. It just brought to mind one question, I guess, that I would have is, does it surprise you guys that it's still, this has been going on this long and there's still people that just completely blow it off like that? They just think it's just some easy peasy, these dumb flat earthers thing,
Sometimes things that are difficult offer the most reward. And in this regard, the reward of not knowing things that I previously thought I had a handle on, like the sky, that's worth what we get as a torment. Now, for me, that's a saving grace. Problem is, or the problem I perceive in the arena is, a lot of people don't actually get that benefit. There we go. All mercies for me. Odd Waddle, can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello. Any questions, comments? Don't feel in any way rushed. You take your time.
Thanks. No, I same as the Hammer. I missed most of the show. I just came in at the last half an hour with that guy. Were questioning about hypothesis. So, yeah, anytime from now on, I'm going to see you guys in here. I'm going to join and have a listen in, and because I love the shows, and I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay, and yeah, see what it was all about.
Thanks. Nathan, before you close up shop, thanks.
Did anybody else, or was that it?
That's it. So thanks, Nathan. Before you close up shop, like I said, sorry about this, guys. I was so much into the presentation and with Draka that I missed the super chat. So Fiber Oats said very helpful. Thanks. Lumpy Gas in the Vacuum. Thanks for the lessons. From Chow Yun Cat, and he said, truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. From Matthew 18:3, quoting Jesus. That is correct, Chow Yun Cat. Good to see you again. JK, this is what happens when your mouth writes a check your ass can't cash. I'm sure he was talking about Jacka. So sorry it was delayed, guys. Appreciate the super chats. My wife is going to really appreciate them. I'll try to keep up with them. I'll try to improve in the future. Nathan, take us home, sir.
It's been a pleasure, of course. Thank you for hosting Ballbusters, and of course, a massive thank you to Arwin, Neil, Adam, Chocolate, Eli, and any other Ballbusters that were here tonight. I can't think of any others. It's been really nice to be back on the air doing this, talking to fundies. Although I don't know if that guy was even a fundie. We didn't qualify with him, but I assume so. As he doesn't like the way we're presenting things, you can only assume he's a fundie. I will plug my own bits. So over the next 24 hours, starting in about an hour and 3/4, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more there or thereabouts, there's going to be a full 24 hours straight of Flat Earth debate on Nathan Oakley 1980. So for UK viewers, from just after midnight all the way through to just after midnight the following day on Sunday night. So all of Sunday, 24 hours straight, there's hand-picked. I've gone through them and carefully selected various different shows that are relevant and seem to flow in a nice order. And they'll start with a previously unpublished little bit from Adam, the Adam Meakin. So that starts at midnight. So be here or be sphere on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. Obviously, another massive thank you to the live participants and the dude who joined to claim QE was disseminating stuff at the 9th grade level. We really appreciate your participation. So thank you very much for those of you who made the public part of this show possible. Most of all, of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for liking, commenting, sharing, hitting the super chat and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Another massive thank you to QE for hosting. And we will see you all in the next Ballbusters.